In this last week of creative composition, my main goal was to finish the Draw 50 Things challenge. I had finished last week with the big shapes in place and a good idea of what to do, but actually getting to draw and place 50 things was quite a bit of work. I added a few bigger items to the composition, like the armchair in the back and the rocking ant-eater in the front, and also created a lot of smaller things to make up the little universe of the armadillos. For the most part, I tried to keep things inside of the Fibonacci spiral to get the golden ratio working for the composition. I also added a light fixture and a planet mobile on the top to make sure I used that space as well. Also, with the exception of the anteater, all of the toy animals are looking at the main characters to help with the focal point. I had high ambitions and I wanted to color this piece, but I ended up just with a value study in the end. I knew I would have a tricky light having the window on the back of the characters, but I wanted to try it. I thought it could create a beam of light that would reach the easel and make the characters in evidence, but I had to work with the idea of a secondary light source coming from the left, not to have the little armadillo's face completely in shadow. After the value study, I tried coloring over it, but I did not like how it was going, and I did not have time to either try to figure out how to use digital watercolor brushes and start painting from scratch, or to paint a real watercolor, so I decided to leave it as it was. It was a complex illustration for me, and I'm quite happy this unit has brought me to try something like this. I also had a second challenge for this week, which was to finish my Christmas paper cut illustration that I had started in week 1. I had never done a paper cut illustration before, so I had to figure out how to make it work, and I also had a few issues with Inkscape, the vector software I used. But again, it was a good exercise to work with depth and foreground, midground, and background with all the layers. I had designed some really tiny cuts that didn't end up being easy to cut at all, and not all of them came out perfect from the cutting machine. But those little places in which the cutting machine didn't get perfect cuts didn't really affect too much the end result, because when I set up the lantern and I put the lights on, those issues are not even visible. All in all, these two projects were a lot of work. This week also marked the completion of the first term of the solo artist curriculum. Next week will be term 2, and the first unit will be dedicated to the anatomy of the head. I will probably take a day or two as a break before I start next term, so I can start in good shape and recover from this illness I've got. Sorry for my voice today. As usual, thank you very much for watching. Bye.